So, with Week 11 in the books, season wrapped up, we have our top contenders for the SPL Championship Series set to take place on September 17th at Hammerhead Games. Huge congratulations to our special guest, Chris Davis, for taking first place with 113 points, 31-7-3 for your record. Incredible performance. And once again, I'm here with my friend, my pal, Mr. T. Watson, coming to join. But guys, with the season wrapped up, it was a long one. 11 weeks, not anything to flick your nose at or anything. I think that's the terminology. But with this being such a long week, we've seen the grind that people had to put out for it, and we have our Elite 14. Chris, you already have the mic. You're the champion of the Cup Series and everything like that. What was your experience like? What are some highlights, some lowlights for you throughout this 11-week experience for Season 3 of SPL?
I think the highlight for me was winning the mid-season with a bad deck.
Yeah, that was really neat.
So that was probably a highlight.
Just so everybody, it was Reggie Gigas.
Yeah. But it was fun playing it. I kind of got lucky, didn't hit too many, dead draw games. Couple, but
I think going into that, you looking at the matchups that you did play, especially in the top cut, you had really good matchups. Like looking at it more and more and going back to it, I go, wow, like Lost Box doesn't really have a good matchup. Yeah. Then I think you playing Palkia and then Miraidon, or no, you didn't play Palkia doing that, but playing the Miraidon, I was like, that was pretty freaking good, man. I liked it. But anything else from the season outside of the midseason?
I guess preventing T from winning the trophy of his namesake
2 times in a row.
Yeah,
right.
For the second time.
I think we have to change your introduction to 2-time SPL Cup champion Chris Davis. Yeah. That was pretty neat. But you look at the Elite 14, you see what your competition is going to be looking like. You and T both get the first round buys heading into the championship series. Who kind of shocks you? Who's the one that you're looking at and going, oh, this is a matchup that I want to avoid, heading into the second round?
There's a lot of heavy hitters in that bracket. So, right off the bat, I either got to go against AJ or Tyler.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, Tyler's really solid, and AJ is a wild card. Where I remember last season, I definitely thought he was going to lose to Abel. And I think what was he playing? Mew and Abel was playing Reggie's, and he snuck out of that with the win as well. And that one's going to be really crazy. But ultimately, I mean, you're definitely looking at. Once again, of course, just so people that are new to the league understand how the championship series works, first and second place from the Cup Series gets a first round bye. When we go into the championship series, with their bye, they also get the benefit of playing the lowest remaining seed from the previous rounds up until they, whoever gets to the championship. Yeah. So realistically, Chris Davis is looking at either Duncan or AJ. And then even upsets from there can lead to potentially Mike or Terry, depending on how all that stuff works. So ultimately, like the pathway doesn't look like it's going to be the easiest given the matchups that you do have. T, how was the season for you? Highlight, low light. What did you see out of it that really kind of made you smile?
Okay. So on my villain LeBron era, I got second.
Good job.
I'll take. I wanted first really bad, but I didn't get it. A highlight for me is honestly just doing as well as I had hoped to do. Throughout the
Way to be humble.
Well, here's my thing. After barely playing last season, and then getting snubbed in top 8, by my very own friend Mike. I was really down about it, and I really wanted to do well this season, so I'm really glad that I was able to do so. The other highlight was just seeing the sheer amount of players that came out in support of SPL and just played at locals regularly. There's still that like 42 person locals that we had at Hammerhead.
That was insane.
To start the week.
Start
it off.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Like
That was a Thursday night.
Yeah. Thursday night, like those are things that I'm just like never gonna forget, and just seeing how our community has grown since the start of SPL to now. And I only feel like things are gonna get better and bigger. So that's a real highlight. A real low light. Why you gotta do me like that?
I think we all know where this is going.
Right. Real low light. I didn't win. No. A low light. Actually, it has nothing to do with like the community or anything. It's that Ant called something at the beginning of the season.
Hello.
And I said he was wrong, and then I played into it the entire time, which was him saying Tina would be the best deck into SPL, going into SPL, and then I've played it for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
And, hey, hi, how's it going?
I never want him to be right, but when he's right, he's right.
I try sometimes.
But that's about it. I think the season overall, I felt it went well. So
okay, and this is where I would love to jump into just a kind of like quick highlights of the Elite 14 and what we're going to be expecting to see. Now we talked a little bit about Tyler, about AJ and their competitiveness, and then on top of the spontaneity. That word.
I'm gonna say it wrong too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it wrong. So just the spontaneousness of AJ and his deck calls. But let's go kind of down the list and really kind of get your guys' take on this. And T, you just wrapped up. I want you to kind of give me your take. Duncan came in 14th place, 86 points, 25-6 and 5 on the season. What was your take on his season and how he performed to earn that 14th spot?
I'm actually really proud of Duncan. In between him trying to move, he still made the time to come and collect points just to try and ensure that he would be in top 14.
3 seasons in a row?
Yeah, 3 seasons in a row. So I'm really proud of Duncan. Duncan has always been a strong player in the community. And yeah, I kind of expected to see him here, so it's not a shock for me.
Yeah, I mean, and Duncan did really well. If you look at his stats throughout the season, he had 5 top placements throughout the entire season, so he's one of the more consistent players that we had that did really well. Moving on from there, Chris, your son, one of your handsome sons, AJ Batista, 90 points on the season, which is probably one of his better seasons that he's had in a while. 25, 8 and 3.
Yeah.
So the man really kind of came to play, and I'm very proud of AJ. But what's your take on his season? What do you expect from him in the playoffs?
Yeah, he definitely is a wild card because he is very out there with some deck choices sometimes.
Yeah.
He pulled off that 15-point week playing
he did.
that Palkia with the Gardevoir engine, or the Kirlia with a little bit of Gardevoir. But yeah, that he came out of nowhere with that and got 15 points that week with that. So that was really cool. That's that match between him and Tyler in that first round. It's gonna be a good one, I think.
Yeah, I know. I definitely agree with that. I feel like the one thing that this season was missing was the twerk counter. Given the fact that AJ, I think, has the most twerks on an opponent.
I think we need to explain that for
anybody that doesn't know. Please go ahead and tell of your son's exploits.
Basically, AJ will twerk on his opponent if a certain requirement is made. Basically, it's got to be game 3. It's got to come down to the wire. He's got to boss for the win. And so I think he's done that five times. Yeah, so he's twerked on his opponent 5 times, getting the game 3 boss for the win.
And I think it's 5 different opponents too. Or is it one opponent twice?
I think he did it to Titus twice.
I think he did do it to Titus twice as well.
I was
from my recollection
of it too. So
yeah. No, I mean AJ is a wild card, and I'm expecting good things from him. Moving on from there, we have Mike. Mike, our reigning Cup Series champion, along with Season 2 SPL champion. He finished the season with 90 points as well, coming in with 25, 10, and 2. Now, ultimately, I didn't think that Mike was going to perform as well as he did last season. I called that in the beginning. Not saying that Mike isn't an incredible player, but one of your best friends, one of your confidants, you practice and play test with this person for a very long time. What was your take on his season? What are your expectations going for him in the playoffs?
So I know personally that there wasn't really a deck that Mike really liked for this season.
Yep.
I know like the last 2 seasons, where season 1 he did Darkrai the entire way through. Season 2 he kind of like got into Lugia.
Kind of.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure I wasn't there that season, but I knew he played nothing.
Just played Lugia the entire time.
Yeah. Well, I also didn't remember if Lugia was out at the beginning of that season. That's why I was saying that. But
he may have started with Darkrai, and then once Lugia came
when
out,
Lugia came out,
he jumped on Lugia hard.
On Lugia as soon as it came out. Yeah.
So, but after that, he really hasn't had that love for a deck like he did for the last 2 seasons. So this season was more of him just trying to figure out what he really liked and enjoyed, and he still did pretty well. He made top 14, so I'm really proud of him for that. He also won the trainer battle trophy.
He did,
season.
Which they were going to announce that, of course, at the SPL Trainer Award Show. That's also going to be hosted by Hammerhead on September 17th at 12 p.m. And this is for a free tournament for all of the trainers that didn't make the SPL Championship Series. But yeah, Mike did have a wonderful season. Moving on from there, we go into number 11. That's going to be Terry. Terry, once again, had another fabulous season, 90 points, 27, 8, and 3 on the season. And I think for a long time, he was kind of the dark horse, the one that a lot of people weren't really talking about, even though he maintained a pretty high placement on the top 14. Davis, you saw him at some tournaments and things like that. What are your takes on his season?
He came in with a spite in his heart because of you guys.
Yes, these are facts.
He wanted to prove you guys wrong for not picking him as one of your top contenders for the season. And I honestly love that. So, and he did really great. He was, in the top 3 for a very long time as well. So he did very great this season, and he stayed true and played Chien Pao Excalibur the whole season. So
hate that deck. But
Same.
No, I think the thing for me, be it that I was on the outside looking in, I wound up not playing as much towards the middle of the season, was seeing him and Jimenez going back and forth, trainer battling, things like that. They're kind of like Bert and Ernie of the group, where you just seen them playing and competing against each other, giving each other pretty much 3 points back and forth throughout the entire season.
Yeah, I think they ended up breaking even.
The
trainer battles.
Yeah, I think so as well. But it was one of those things where you could see that was the shift where Terry started to slip a little bit. But I still believe that, given the fact that he did really well last season, I think he lost to China in the championship series. I think he's coming back, like you said, with that spite, with that vengeance in mind. He's Robert Pattinson Batman. He is vengeance this season, and I'm really excited to see what he has to offer heading into the playoffs. Moving from there, we jump into number 10, Andrew. Our runner-up for last season.
I'm so proud of him.
I'm so proud of Andrew. He came back like a bat out of hell.
He was struggling this season.
Yeah. And I mean,
Tuesday at CCC, he was like, I'm going to get all the points I need, and I'm going to make top 14. He did it.
He was like, I am doing my makeup week. I'm going to get as many points as possible. He went and got, I think it was 7 from Hammerhead, and he was like, dude, how many points do I need? And I was like, you need like X amount, and he was like, I'm gonna get it. And he
did. Well, I mean, what he did was magical. The fact is, he ended the season with 91 points, 22, 9, and 7 as his record for the league. And once again, this is somebody that I respect. Unfortunately, I didn't have him in my top. T did, so shout out to T for including Andrew in there. But I think he does have that fire in his belly. The fact is, he was the runner-up at the midseason showdown from last season, runner-up for last season.
No, he won the midseason.
He won the midseason last season.
Oh yeah, he beat. Yeah, scratch that. Sorry, Andrew. You beat Corey.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been able to perform when he's needed to, and this is evident in the work that he's been able to accomplish.
Exactly.
So I mean, going back to it. What is your take on it, T? You've known Andrew for a while now. You've seen him play and grow as a competitor. Yeah. You know, what's your take overall?
Andrew, when it comes to playing, is kind of like Mike when he finds a deck that he kind of enjoys. He really sticks to it. And I know he played, what was it, Tina? Played Tina on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been on that for like a good minute.
He played at the midseason as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he started the season with Gardevoir.
Yeah.
And then he switched to Chien Pao Excalibur.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then he made the switch to Tina, and then he's kind of been on the fence of if he wants to play Chien Pao or Tina.
Yeah.
And I told him he should play Tina.
Yeah.
And he was kind of leaning towards that as well.
Yeah.
He just wanted some like
insight.
Some of that.
I told him the same thing I tell everybody, which is play what you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Sure enough.
I agree. So, with that being said, what's your guys' kind of outlook on Andrew heading in? I feel like he is. AJ is a wild card when it comes to deck choice. I think Andrew is a wild card where I think a lot of people don't take him as serious as they should.
It's because he's so cute.
He's so damn cute.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, when you look at him, how big of a threat level do you two, be it that you guys are the top seeds, see him heading into this championship series?
You want to take this first?
You can go ahead.
Okay. The threat level of Andrew is, and I said this at the very beginning of the season to Andrew, was I was here for all the smoke when it came to trainer battles, except against Andrew. I lost 2 trainer battles to Andrew last season. Almost every time I play Andrew in tournament, I get bodied for no reason at all. I was just trying to have fun. But yeah, Andrew was a matchup I was trying to avoid all season.
Would not trainer battle him at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Andrew asked.
Andrew asked several times.
Yeah, you don't trainer battle Andrew.
No.
That's just the way it is.
No, it's just law.
Yeah. For Chris, you weren't in last season. Of course, Chris, comeback player of the season.
I was cheering for him on the side.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember you specifically were saying that you were hoping Andrew did well, which he really did.
Yeah.
So what's your take on him heading into this championship series?
I think he is a strong contender.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, like everybody's a strong contender in that bracket. Like he's going against Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ryan, he can smack it down.
Yeah.
So
Ryan is no slouch.
and call you a bozo in the middle of the match while he's doing it.
Gosh, so much so.
Yeah.
Bozo.
Yeah.
Bozo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's where you're going to see a lot of the top players kind of meet in early end. Not saying that that's going to happen to Andrew, but you have tough matchups in and out.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely that. I mean, it's going to come down to these.
Way, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to come down to these next couple weeks, planning, preparing, and really feeling comfortable with a deck that you have confidence in heading into this, because you're playing up against the top players in Sacramento.
Yeah.
As of now, until we get more people in. But that's going to be exciting. Moving on from there, though, guys. We jump into Luisito, right? Now, Luis, I had no idea he had what he had in him. He finished the season 93 points, 21 wins, 8 losses, 10 ties. I think he takes the title for second most ties outside of our buddy Titus Wu with 12, but 10 ties in the the Elite 14. Chris, I'll let you go ahead and start with this one. I mean, you know Luis. We've all hung out, we play tested, things like that. What was your outlook on his season? How do you feel about it?
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to be happening for him in the championship?
I'm a big Luis fan in general. Love that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though, I wasn't expecting him to kind of be in the top 14.
Luis, respectfully, I don't think any of us did. You surprised a lot of people, man, and that's a good thing.
But he's been playing that Palkia deck, and he plays it very well.
Yeah.
So the thought.
Is he playing with the Curlias as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's playing the straight Palkia with Chimpao, Ninja, B-Barrel. So
nice. Oh, all right.
Traditional way it's played.
Yeah.
So he's doing very well with it, and he plays it very well. I've watched him play it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean he handled himself pretty well. I remember in the midseason showdown, I think
he hit those bad matchups.
Yeah, he won one.
Yeah,
and he was able to take it out.
Yeah, he wound up playing 2 Miraidon decks, wound up winning one of the matches. Ultimately couldn't pull it out in the long run, but still very impressive to see that.
He could have won. Could have won the one against JJ. JJ was the one that beat him.
Yeah.
And I honestly was more scared to face Luis than I was JJ going into
based off of the
finals.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense because you have a water Pokemon and something that can attack in so many different ways and everything. So I think this is going to be really, really exciting as well. With Luis and who's he wound up playing? I think he's
Emmanuel.
I think he's playing Emmanuel, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one jumping into that. Do you have anything to say about Luis?
I am also glad that Luis made it in. It's kind of fitting that Luis made it in with Palkia because if you remember last season, Luis started playing right before the second season started, and he picked up Palkia.
Yeah, he did.
So just to come full circle and make top 14 with Palkia is kind of just a fitting story for him.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy for him. And speaking of somebody else that I'm very happy for, my guy Emmanuel Cruz. He wound up, placing 8th, 93 points as well. What is that? 24, 7, and 6 on the season for his record. Maining Giratina for the most part. Now, Davis, I don't know how often you played or even talked to Emmanuel. Wonderful kid, but T, I know we have a pretty solid relationship with him.
Yeah.
What was your take on his season?
At the beginning of the season, like I said, I wasn't a Giratina believer, so I wasn't sure how he was going to do. But if you remember, Emmanuel gave me my first trainer, I think my only trainer battle loss.
Yeah.
So
I was there for it.
Yeah, it was at Hammerhead, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was terrible. We don't talk about it anymore. But since then, just seeing him pilot Tina, the way he plays, he makes so many good decisions when it comes to playing. Like any Lost Zone player has to. And he's been playing that deck for a really long time because at midseason last season he also played Tina.
He was.
And he was also one of my losses at the last mid-season showdown as well. So, I like Manny.
Who doesn't?
He was one of my hopeful picks just because Tina boys now. So
every time I see him, I go give him a kiss on the forehead. Yeah, I love that guy. He actually just messaged me about labbing tomorrow because he wants to get prepared for everything as well.
Right
So I think that's going to be fun. But moving from there, we're going to jump into a fan favorite. I think most people know who this is. Ryan Massey, 93 points.
Yeah.
28, 7, and 3 on the season. I would say that, dare I say, one of Chris Davis's best friends.
I love that.
How happy are you to see him make it to the championship?
Yeah, I was worried he wasn't gonna make it, but then he pulled 15 points out of Adventures last week. So and that pretty much secured his spot. And I was really surprised too because he played a wide variety of decks.
Yes, he did,
and a lot of ones that he's called a snooze fest in the past. So
classic Ryan.
I like that he he went out there and played a variety of things, you know, and he did really well. So.
Yeah. And I like to throw this out there. I think that gives him a really good feel for the game and the meta. I think that's one of the things that's going to really help him going into the championship series, is because he's played so many different matchups with so many different decks. He's going to have a really good idea of how to attack certain things, sequencing, and so much more. Now, once again, Ryan can get into his own head.
Yeah.
So, you know, he shows up playing something random and unexpected and bites the dust early. You kind of understand, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah.
But I think, T, even speaking for you, we're super excited about this. Ryan is once again a fan favorite for a reason. He's a very well liked person in the Pokemon community, very similar to T. He's well known throughout the Pokemon community now, and you know, I think we can all say that we're cheering for him. Now, I don't necessarily know if these guys are cheering for you when you play them, but for the most part, I think they're all.
If I'm going to lose to somebody, I hope it's Ryan.
Okay, so you don't want to lose to the next person, which is Luke Brandow, finishing the season at 95 points, 29 wins, 6 losses, and 2 ties. T, you've known Luke for a while. You know, the Brandos are wonderful. I actually just did a fantasy football draft with their dad on Sunday, which was really fun. But your take on his season? I mean, the youngest competitor.
Yeah,
making it to the top 14.
He's coming to pull the Henry.
Yeah.
Luke has also been playing Tina, I think all season as well. He's gotten into the list that I played the beginning of the season with the cross switchers.
I love that list,
and it's been working pretty well for him. He's taken down a few locals. He's you know, made his presence known.
Yes,
and it's actually what I expected. I expected both of them to make it.
Oh, both Brandos?
Brother? Yeah.
I mean, Dylan is wonderful. I think he's just been working more life and things like that.
He didn't have the time to play as much as Luke did.
So. Yeah. But still a great person to be a part of the
community. Luke is a crazy good kid. So as a player.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean I thought that what he did was he typed into Chat GPT what's the best deck, and then it gave him the list that he needed.
He went to Chat GPT to create his Giratina list.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. But jumping over from there, we jump into one person that I think shocked a lot of people throughout most of the season, Francis Batista. The man, 102 points for the entire season, 26, 6, and 8. Davis.
I love Francis so much.
I think most people do.
And, you know, that mid-season show, or not the mid-season, but the season opener, you know, he got the 12 points?
Yeah. Something ridiculous.
He was
10,
just,
10.
10.
He was on top for, like, more than half of the season, I feel like.
Yeah.
And he's definitely made me, you know, salty losing to him a couple times throughout the season, but you know, they were well-deserved wins. And you know, I have nothing but respect for Francis. He likes to not play meta. And what he chooses to play, he plays very well usually. So
I love Francis and I hate him at the same time. Also, the worst babysitter. Every time he comes to my house and I tell him to watch my kids, he doesn't do a very good job. But but outside of that, the one time that I played against him this season, or 2 times. The first time I played against him with Zoro Box, and me and him tied at USG when they were still hosting. And then I played him at the mid-season showdown, and freaking guy decided to bring out Darkrai.
He played Darkrai most of the season.
No, I just happened to play Mew that day. I was so upset. But outside, no, I don't know if it was that day or another day. But either way, Francis, I love the guy, and I'm so happy that he did as well as he did. He brings the sauce, and he's probably one of the more refreshing players to watch throughout the entire season, and just playing in general. You never know what he's going to bring. Like Davis said, he's very off meta, but it's always entertaining and it's always fun. But jump from there, we'll go ahead and talk about Tyler, new player to the SPL. Same 102 points, 30 wins, which I think is just under Chris Davis for the most throughout the season. But he also has 5 losses, 3 ties. T, give us your take on his season. The man did incredible work.
Yeah. For his first season, honestly, Tyler is an incredible player.
Yes.
I got to see him top the SF Cup with Guardy. He's been on Guardy for most of the season, and he just plays super well. I think the way he thinks about the game is really intelligent. I think the way he plays, outside of that one time he played Arctina, is just phenomenal and refreshing to see from like a new face in the community. So yeah, Tyler is great, and it is not a shock that he is in the top.
Yeah, he was my pick for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really kind of were leaning towards that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we do still have the Rookie of the Year ballot up on the SPL website. I'm also going to go ahead and send out some other stuff for our league as well. But no, I definitely agree with that. Tyler, from the moment I met him, where his mind is with the game and how he kind of just can see things, he's one of the top contenders, and it's going to be exciting to see him push you guys heading into the championship series. From there, we jump into I think the person that we're going to wrap up this portion of the show with, which is Tanner. 104 points, 26 wins, 6 losses, 7 ties. I would love to hear from both of you, whoever wants to go first, but this is Tanner's first year, right? No, second. Yeah, he played last season. But, what's your guys' take on his season? It was, the third best in the entire league.
Solid performance from him. He was very hungry to do well this season. He definitely was strategizing the best way to get points and everything. He plays Lost Box very well. So I'm not surprised he's there.
Yeah. No. T?
Also not surprised that he's there. I also like the way Tanner approaches the game, just because he is so willing to learn from everyone.
He is.
When it comes to like decks to play, tech choices, why decisions are made, why these certain cards are in certain decks. And I think that is the outlook that most people should have on the game, just always willing and eager to learn. And like Chris said, he came hungry. He came wanting to do very well. So it's no shock that he made it up here, because he is really good with Lost Box. He is really critical on himself and his plays, and just the way that he thinks about the game. So phenomenal player. And
I agree with that. I played against Tanner a few times, and what I've always liked about him is he's always been very respectful, even went through the process. We'll play test against each other, and the way that he asks questions and formulates it, like he's someone that I enjoy playing against. I enjoy seeing him do really well. And another person that I think is really going to be able to push for that push you guys heading into the next series. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we talked about T, we talked about Davis, we've covered everybody else in the Elite 14. Before we head into deck out, I do want to hear just a couple things, opinions about some of the people that just wound up missing the Elite 14. And let's start with JJ. 86 points. He was actually tied with Duncan, which was nice. First season with the league. 23 wins, 8 losses, 4 ties. T, you've known JJ for a while. Normally a Yu-Gi-Oh player, played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, jumped into Pokemon. What would you like to say about his season?
It sucks to see him hit 15th. Honestly, he has played really well.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he's played really well throughout the entire season, getting second at the mid-season showdown as well.
Yep.
And then I think he kind of just like fell in love with Miraidon after that.
Yeah, he did.
But just seeing his performance was great. I know he was kind of iffy, like towards the middle, where he didn't know if he wanted to keep going or keep pushing. And the fact that he pushed far enough to tie for 14th is just great to see, because I knew there was a minute that he was out of it, and just to see him bounce back and fall in love with the deck was really good.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see what he does next season.
Yeah,
that's the thing that's going to be for me. Davis, you mentioned this before we started talking on air, but Mike Jimenez just missing out. And I think, once again, another fan favorite from a lot of people. Anybody that knows Mike knows how jolly of a guy he is.
Yep.
And I say it because
he's all might.
Yeah, he is the better Mike. As I think a lot of us like to say. What was your take on his season, man? How are you feeling knowing that he just missed out?
It was heartbreaking because, he started off the season not so great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then towards the middle, he shot up in there, kind of in the middle of the pack of the top 14, and it just kind of fizzled out a little. His what is it, the all for one, or one for all, one for all. His one for all spark went out, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
it was.
I was really rooting for him.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were. I remember during season 1, and this is the funny thing for me, is I remember me and Mike Jimenez both backed into the championship series in season 1. And I remember in the group chat, Davis goes, "If there's 2 people that make it, I want Anthony and Mike to make it." And I made it. I made it because I beat Mike in the final week.
Yeah.
But then, funny enough, I think Duncan wasn't able to make it, so Mike was able to back in and come in, and he was at 15th at that point too.
Yeah.
And I think it was just fun. The funny thing is, I think Mike actually missed the championship series that day. But for the most part, I definitely agree. He was somebody that I'm rooting for, and I will always be rooting for Mike. You know, what's the saying? If there's a million fans of Mike Jimenez, I'm one of them. If there's 1,000 fans of Mike Jimenez, I'm one of them. If there's 100 fans of Mike Jimenez, I'm one. If there's one, I'm that one. And if there's none, I'm dead.
Yep.
So that's 100% Mike. From there, guys, just to wrap it out, I just want to hear from you guys. One person each that you had better expectations for, that unfortunately they didn't make it into the Elite 14 like you thought they would. And you have some good choices.
I was like, shoot, just one? I have a couple. So
let's say, give them to me rapid fire then.
Rapid fire. Edgar.
Good one.
Yeah, I expected Edgar to do a bit better, and he's not super far off points wise.
No, he's not. 82.
Yeah. Clayton.
He was my dark horse.
He was mine too.
I love that guy. He's handsome.
I love him as well. I expected him to do super well.
A pie?
I was gonna get there. A pie is someone I also expected to do well. Him and Luis had basically a win-in trainer battle to see who would get in, and ultimately ended up losing. So that was another heartbreaking thing to see. And then Francis. I really wanted Francis to do super well.
He would have done some stuff in the championship tournament too.
Right, because he's been playing water all season, and he really likes the deck. He's gotten really creative with his lists, and I really wanted to see him go far.
Yeah. So. Davis, anybody that kind of top of your mind going, man, it's...
He had a lot of, the ones that I could see making it. One that wasn't mentioned, who was doing very well, but just kind of fizzled out as well, kind of like Mike did, Soren.
Yeah. Soren actually had a couple of really solid weeks when he was playing Rapid Strike.
Yeah.
So, I'm bummed Soren didn't make it. He was up there for a while too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. I know Soren works as a TO on the weekends for adventures, and during the week it's not always the easiest thing getting out to the locals like you would like to. I fall into that same category. But he was definitely somebody where I was a little bit sad. I would love to have seen the team of Soren and Ryan being able to make it in together. One that was a little surprising to me, not necessarily because I thought that they were going to do anything crazy. I didn't have high expectations because I didn't know them. But Corinne was actually someone that at the beginning of the season, for the better part, was floating around that the fringes of the Elite 14, either being right on the inside and falling out and jumping back and forth. And they were somebody that honestly, a little surprised. I think they wound up not being able to make it out to some of the locals over the end of the season, but ultimately, kind of is what it is. We have our Elite 14, and we get to see them all duke it out September 17th at Hammerhead Games, which we're all excited about. But from there, guys, we're kind of, hitting that 30-something minute mark. I think it's time we go ahead and call it. We'll jump into Deck Out and just go over the last few things that are going to be important. And I could start out with this one. Biggest thing, Championship Series, going to be hosted once again by Hammerhead Games on September 17th at 12 p.m. This is going to be for the Elite 14 free tournament, and this is going to be for the bragging rights of the entire season. Yeah. We have our top 2 seeds here in two-time Cups champion Chris Davis, and then the two-time runner-up in T. Watson. But we're expecting everybody to show up. We're really, really excited about what this local has to offer. And once again, this is going to be presented and hosted by Hammerhead Games, who is also presenting or sponsoring our playmats this season as well. So shout out to Adrian and all the guys there at Hammerhead Games for hooking us up there. Moving on, T, I think we have the SPL trainer or SPL award show tournament.
So we do have the SPL award show tournament. Same time, same day as the championship. So if you don't want to sit around and watch the playoffs play out, we have a free tournament going on. Winner of the free tournament will receive free entry into the next season of SPL. I am also trying to work in some other prizing for you guys, so that is to be determined. But for right now, it's free entry into the next season of SPL, and just something to show that we appreciate everyone that supported us all the way through.
Yep. And then also, just to throw this out there, during that tournament, we will also be presenting awards, which you'll be seeing your guys' ballots to vote on the awards within the next couple of days, which we're really excited about that. And that's what I was actually hoping that Chris Davis would talk about as well, be it that he is going to be on one of the ballots for the comeback player of the year. But I think outside of that, was there anything else for
Still have SPL dice?
SPL dice. Yep. Anything that you want to talk about? Because we do have the seasonal meeting coming up for SPL leadership, and
I guess we can announce I'm part of.
Yes. Oh yeah. Go ahead and announce.
I'm joining the team to help out with the league.
Yes.
I won't be playing next season, so I rather help out behind the scenes. So anybody who has any comments, concerns, questions, feel free to bring them to me.
Yep.
I can take them back to the team. I want everybody to have a good time, and I want everybody to feel welcomed. So
I like it.
Let me know.
Yep, we are getting one stronger season by season.
Yes.
We finally have our captain.
Yes.
But no, at this point, yes, Davis is 100% right. We're all taking essentially a step back from next season so we can work and make sure that you guys are having the best time possible. That doesn't mean that we're not going to show up to locals. Doesn't mean we're not going to play when we get a chance to. We definitely want to be able to go there and beat everybody as often as possible to make
people.
Yes, point block people.
I love point blocking.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. But outside of that, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of SPL Live. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to comment anything down below, especially if there's anything that you guys are interested in us changing for the upcoming season, as we will be having a off-season meeting between our leadership group, which once again is myself, T, Chris Davis, and Mike Moreno, and the competition committee, which is essentially a group of current trainers playing in the league. But until then, I think for myself, Anthony Mariona, Chris Davis, two-time Cup champion, and T, two-time runner-up Cup champion, I guess we'll see you at locals.
See you at locals, guys.
Peace, guys.
Bye.